Your breath was once a gift you never opened. Now it's a burden you can't put down. Every inhale, a decision. Every exhale, a choice. Sleep becomes the last mistake you'll ever make. The silence that follows is just the body's final, unaided stillness. 7 days of manual breathing. This is Protocol Breath Zero. Day 1. The autonomic rhythm that has cycled since your first breath simply stops. No warning, no pain, just silence where there was once a constant, unseen tide. You must now inhale by conscious command. The diaphragm contracts, but only after you issue the order. The chest rises, the air enters. Then you must remember to exhale. The pause between breaths, once automatic, now stretches indefinitely until you fill it with will. A cold panic settles in your chest. You discover that breathing is not one act, but two. Inhale, exhale, each requiring a separate, deliberate signal. There is no autopilot. You count the seconds. Your heartbeat becomes a countdown. Your mind, forced to manage a process it never knew existed, begins to fray. You cannot blink without risking a lapse. You cannot swallow without pausing the rhythm. Every other thought becomes a threat to your next breath. The constant cycle of attention wears down your prefrontal cortex. The diaphragm aches from unfamiliar conscious use. You are chained to a task you must perform every few seconds, forever. And it is only day 1, the voluntary breath. The first of many days where sleep is not rest, but a mortal risk. Day 2. Sleep has become a lethal luxury. You have not closed your eyes for more than a few seconds in over 30 hours, and your body is screaming for rest, but your brain has reclassified unconsciousness as death. To drift off is to stop breathing. Every time your eyelids grow heavy, a violent, gasping lurch yanks you back, heart slamming against your ribs, lungs burning as they pull in air you did not consciously command. The cycle is relentless. Exhaustion pulls you under. Survival rips you back. Microsleeps begin to ambush you. These are not gentle nods. They are seconds-long blackouts where your conscious mind abandons its post entirely. Your body, left alone, simply stops breathing. You wake with a choking, desperate inhale, not knowing how long you were gone. Was it 3 seconds? 10? The terror of those gaps outweighs the exhaustion itself, because each one could have been your last. Your mind, starved of the restorative processes that only sleep provides, begins to fracture. Your vision blurs at the edges. Simple tasks collapse into insurmountable puzzles. The world shrinks to a single, unbearable cycle. Inhale, exhale, fight the pull of oblivion. Nothing else exists. You are holding back an ocean with your bare hands, and the tide is rising with every passing hour. Day 2. The waking prison. Sleep was once a cure for every ill. Now it is the only poison, and you must refuse the antidote. Day 3. The breath that sustains you has become a barrier. You have not eaten. You have not drunk. Not because you forgot, but because you cannot afford the pause. Every swallow is a gamble, a voluntary apnea that risks never restarting. You lift a glass of water to your lips, tilt it, and the cold liquid fills your mouth. Then comes the terror. You must stop breathing to let it pass. And for those seconds, you are suspended over an abyss. The water goes down wrong. You choke, gasp, and the precious rhythm nearly shatters. The glass remains full. Your thirst remains unquenched. Dehydration tightens its grip. Your blood thickens, forcing your already exhausted heart to pound harder. Your kidneys ache, their delicate filters clogging with concentrated waste. A deep, grinding cramp knots your calf, then your side. Your muscles starved of water and fuel. The diaphragm, the one muscle you cannot rest, now quivers with fatigue. Each contraction a dull stab in your ribs. You are running a machine with no oil, no coolant, no reserves, and the engine is beginning to seize. Malnutrition clouds your mind further, layering a dull confusion atop the sleep deprivation. Words lose meaning. The edges of the room shimmer. You are a pilot trapped in a failing cockpit, all warning lights flashing red, with only one control left, the breath. Day 3. The starving breath. The act that keeps you alive is now the very thing that prevents you from taking in anything else. You are drowning in air, dying of thirst. Day 4. The air is unchanged, but inside your blood, a poison is silently building. Your breaths, still under conscious command, have grown shallow and weak. Exhaustion prevents you from filling your lungs fully. Distraction prevents you from emptying them. Carbon dioxide, the waste product of every cell, begins to accumulate. The delicate pH balance of your blood tips toward acid, respiratory acidosis. A deep, throbbing headache blooms behind your eyes. Normally, a breath would deepen automatically to flush the CO2, but that reflex is dead. You must remember to breathe deeper, and your exhausted mind cannot hold the command. Your heart pounds, straining against the rising acid. Confusion thickens like fog. Your vision blurs and pulses with every labored heartbeat. Your hands tremble, not from fear, but from a nervous system beginning to fail in its own toxic waste. You are suffocating, not from a lack of oxygen, but from the inability to expel what your cells still produce. The escape valve is there, but it requires a force you no longer possess. Day 4. The carbon flood. You are drowning in the very breath you fight to take. Day 5. The damage no longer threatens, it arrives. Your kidneys, starved of water and poisoned by acidosis, begin to shut down. Nephrons scar. Toxins back up into your blood. A dull ache settles in your lower back, barely felt through the haze. Your heart, battered by exhaustion, loses its rhythm. Electrical signals stumble. A chaotic flutter replaces the steady pulse. Your brain, starving for oxygen and glucose, slips into hallucinations. The walls breathe. Voices whisper between your commanded inhales. The diaphragm, your sole remaining engine, tears under the strain. Microscopic ruptures spread through the muscle. Each voluntary breath now brings a sharp, stabbing pain in your ribs. The machine cannibalizes itself for one more revolution. You kept yourself alive by will alone, but will cannot keep a heart beating, a kidney filtering, or a muscle from tearing itself apart. Day 5. The organ silence. Day 6. The will that has sustained you for over 140 hours finally fractures. Your conscious mind, battered by exhaustion, acidosis, and starvation, can no longer hold the command. The gap between your voluntary inhales stretches. 5 seconds. 10. The world fades to a soft, gray fog. Your hand, resting on your chest, feels the diaphragm flutter and go still. There is no violent choke, no desperate, gasping struggle. The body, depleted of glucose and drowning in its own waste, has no energy for a fight. The last instruction to inhale is simply forgotten. The brainstem, silent from the beginning, offers no backup. The lungs rest for the first time in 6 days. A profound, empty silence fills the room. The ribs do not rise. The heart, starved of oxygen, stutters into a final, chaotic rhythm before it too begins to slow. The pupils, fixed and dilated, stare at the ceiling. The last conscious thought already dissolved into the void. The breath that was a gift, then a burden, is now a memory. Day 6. The final exhale. You did not die from a lack of air. You died because the mind that was forced to command every breath finally let go, and nothing was left to take its place. And Day 7. The room is no longer a prison, it is a tomb. The body lies as it fell, one arm draped across the chest where the hand once commanded each rise and fall. The diaphragm rests beneath the ribs, a bellows that will never draw air again. There is no death rattle, just a quiet surrender. The last conscious breath exhaled hours ago and never followed. The brainstem remains a dark, unlit switchboard. No backup generator awakens. The machinery simply stopped, and the silence that followed was seamless. The clock on the wall continues its indifferent rhythm. The air still holds 21% oxygen, ready, but the gatekeeper is gone. The will that translated chemical potential into motion has dissolved. Outside, the world spins on, unaware. But inside this room, a new equilibrium has been reached. The breath, once a silent gift, then a crushing burden, has become neither. It is simply absent, and the space it occupied is now filled with nothing at all. Day 7. Breath 0. For 6 days, you defied the silence. On the 7th, you became it.